Yo, what's going on everybody? Today we're talking about the New Balance 1080 version 11, and in this shoe what we have is 30 millimeters of stack height in the heel with an 8 millimeter drop, giving us 22 millimeters of fresh foam X midsole in the forefoot, which is nice and comfy. In the upper, we've got a knit material in the toe box, and then the materials get a little bit stiffer and a little bit less breathable. And then around back, we come around to this giant Achilles flare and a neoprene-like material that wraps around a fairly substantial heel counter that has just a little bit of padding in it, in a configuration that New Balance is calling its Ultra Heel. And then back down towards the outsole, we have nearly full coverage rubber in a pattern that's very similar to the 1080 version 10 that we saw last year. All this entire package is coming in at a total weight of 9.3 ounces. So before I tell you what it was like to run in this shoe after just the first run, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that I purchased with my own money. No one sent it to me or is paying me to make this video, and no one's going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about what it was like to run in New Balance 1080 version 11. Now, for today, the run was 8.53 miles, 8 minutes, 57 seconds per mile, and 137 beats per minute. An easy run for the most part, a couple of strides in there, so I got a little bit of variety of paces for this update to a shoe that I think pretty much everyone generally loved. The 1080 version 10 was a giant hit for New Balance. So when I heard about the version 11, all I was thinking is I just hope they didn't change too much, that they weren't trying to mess around with something that was so successful last year. And that's basically what we have. But first though, let's talk about some of the things that I didn't really like. This shoe just happens to be pretty terrible in the snow, despite what it looks like from this outsole pattern. And these pods have a decent amount of kind of depth to them for a road shoe, and there's lots of rubber coverage on the outsole. I thought it would actually do pretty good in conditions that we had out there today. There had been a light snow overnight, maybe in certain spots, about an inch of accumulation on the trail out there today on that paved surface. But whether I was on that or on actual snow getting out to the trail, this shoe just slips and slides around like crazy. Now, it's not intended to be a snowshoe by any means. I just happened to be out there in the snow today. It's still very much wintertime here in Chicago, and the shoe is pretty much terrible. It was a big surprise. But it's not a huge deal for me. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that at least the worst of winter is going to be ending soon. The other thing that I thought was really weird about this shoe is that this Ultra Heel, which I really liked last year, just wasn't very comfortable at slower speed. So walking around, just like my warm-up paces, like it really felt like my heel was popping right out of the back of this Ultra Heel. It's as if like it wasn't like sitting in like fully or properly. Like as much as this looks like it kind of wraps around your heel and then will lock in like right here, it really didn't do that. It just kind of felt like my heel was almost sliding out of the back of the shoe. Fortunately, once I kind of got warmed up, and especially also during my strides that I had today where I was picking up the pace, not an issue. I didn't feel like I was loose or sliding around at all, but it just was a little bit off-putting at kind of the try-on phase. So if you're at the store and you're like, oh, I don't know if this feels right, make sure you're getting onto a treadmill to pick up the pace a little bit to see if that's still going to be the case for you. It wasn't the case for me. It was absolutely fine. Those are really the two only things that I didn't like about this shoe, which says a lot. I think that the shoe is fantastic. There's a Ortholite insole, so when we are talking about that kind of in-store step-in experience, it's going to feel super soft. So walking around in the shoe, if you're going to be spending a lot of time on your feet, definitely an option that I think is going to be really great for a lot of people because it is so comfortable. And the reason why I think that's fantastic is because they're doing comfort in this max cushion shoe without a ton of puffiness. There's a little bit of padding in the material that they've chosen for the tongue, but the knit is very thin, very flexible, very breathable. My feet were super cold today, but a really nice execution of knit material in this toe box, but it's just in the toe box here. Other than that, you've got a little bit of a toe cap that stretches back around to the midfoot cage where the materials are a lot less breathable and a little bit more structured. They've got some overlays here as well, which are also going to aid in giving a little bit of just kind of like shape to the midfoot cage here, something for the laces to really grab down on and secure the foot. And then as you come back to this Ultra Heel, there is a little bit of padding, but it's just nice to touch. It feels good on the heel. Everything about it feels very plush, but it's not puffy and it's not heavy. So I just absolutely love what they've done with the Ultra Heel this year. Yes, this like Achilles flare is a little bit kind of extra, but you know, I still actually really like it. And it did use it as a little bit of kind of like a pull tab to help get the shoe on. So there's enough here for you to get your thumb on there and really pull the shoe and help get it on, but it also stays away for those of you who just need that to give your Achilles a little bit of relief. So overall, the execution on the upper is fantastic. I think it's improved from last year. I'd say the best way to kind of think about the 1080 version 11 is to take the 1080 version 10 and literally put it through the ringer. Like that old like laundry machine, the 2 rollers, and you crank the thing and you put it through and it squishes whatever you put through it. I've never used one of those. I've seen them before, but I just remember them mainly from Saturday morning cartoons. Everything about this seems like squished down and streamlined a little bit from the 1080 version 10. It feels like while this Ultra Heel is big and kind of like very prominent, it's not quite as big and not quite as prominent as last year. For the midsole, the Fresh Foam X that's in here, I don't feel it's quite as bouncy as I remember the 1080 version 10. Now, I ran in the 1080 version 10 over a year ago at this point, so it's been a while since I've been in that shoe, and I just remember the 1080 version 10, at least the first time I stepped in it, having an incredible amount of bounce to it, even though it was a big shoe, even though it was a bulbous shoe, even though it was a heavy shoe. It just kept me moving and really bouncing along as I was running down the road. And so it felt very exciting for a max cushion shoe. I'm still getting a lot of that sensation, but it feels like kind of like the first 50 miles, 30 miles of that 1080 version 10 are gone. And now I'm like left with the worn-in version of the 1080 version 10, which is good still, but it's not quite as like instantly poppy as I remember the 1080 version 10 being. So it's almost as if there's either a little bit less Fresh Foam X or a little bit more of a denser formulation of Fresh Foam X. I'm not exactly sure what it is, or it just could be the way that I'm remembering it. Now, today's run was a recovery run from a very tough workout the day before. I was running in the New Balance RC Elite, a very tough day. So my feet were definitely very happy overall about being in the 1080 version 11 with the comfort of the upper that I'm absolutely loving. The fit is fantastic, and that softness of the midsole foam is still here. It's a little bit denser, I feel like, than the version 10, but it's still an absolutely fantastic max cushion shoe. Really great for the recovery day that I had today. Just really feels good to get in there. My legs are a little bit beat up, feet are a little bit tired from the workout the day before, but this is definitely helping keep things moving, keep things rolling in a very comfortable way, so that way I can get that active recovery from this easy day after the tough workout. I'm looking forward to getting some longer runs in this shoe, and I think that's where this shoe is really going to shine. Those days when you're trying to just get out there and get in those long, slow distance miles. Maybe you're looking to increase your mileage and put a lot more either weekly miles or get to a longer distance for your longest runs. I feel like the 1080 version 11 is going to be a fantastic choice that's out there for you guys. But right now, I do think that there are a lot of 1080 version 10s still floating around. You could probably get at a discount. And because the 1080 version 11 is more of an iteration rather than a complete revolution from what we saw in the version 10, it might not be a bad idea to pick up one more pair of the 1080 version 10 at a discount if you've been loving the 10 already. And then later on in the summer, then you can come and try the 1080 version 11. But if you're looking for the next best max cushion trainer from New Balance and you just can't wait anymore, then the 1080 version 11 is just that slightly streamlined version of that shoe that I think that you're definitely going to prefer. So those are my thoughts on the 1080 version 11 after just the first run. Hit that subscribe button to see comparison videos that I'll be making in the next couple of weeks, comparing this shoe to other shoes in this category and maybe across other couple of categories of running shoes. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or better yet, you can feel free to stop by the live stream that I do on YouTube at 3 p.m. Central Time just about every day, and you can always feel free to ask me a question there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hope you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?